made a video in a while. Sorry about that. Life's a little crazy right now with, you know, trying to keep people healthy and the whole working and stuff. So anyway, holidays are upon us. When I really get into my baking groove, this one is one that I came up with years ago, and I call it chocolate truffle cookies. So I'm going to start with a half a cup of cocoa powder and 3/4 of a cup of cake flour. I like cake flour when I make cookies because it makes them really light and fluffy. Then I'm going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. I like baking powder too because it also helps make things light and fluffy. There we go, 3/4 teaspoon. So I am, Chris, you're making noise eating that popcorn.
I'm sorry.
Really? Really? Okay, I'm going to sift all of this together. I want that blended kind of nicely. This particular recipe, it doesn't make a whole lot, but you can always double, triple, whatever. I think it's pretty easy though. I like doing it this way because I think it blends it really well. You can use like a traditional sifter too. That's fine. This is just easier to grab. And to be honest, I think this is easier to clean than one of those other sifters. You just toss it in the dishwasher and it gets really clean really fast, I think. So that part is done. It looks nice and cocoa-y in there. Cocoa powder. Truffle, really? I'm trying to make a video and you go ringing the bell so you can go outside. Can you wait just 1 minute? Can you wait a minute? Okay. So what would I need to put sugar in it because these... Chris, let your dog out. I taught her a trick last Christmas. I didn't actually teach her a trick. She just kind of learned because she's super stinking smart. I put bells on the door and she knows that when the door opens, the bell makes a noise. And so she figured out that if she makes the noise, we'll open the door. A lot of people train their dogs to do that. She trained herself. So I've got 1/2 cup of sugar plus 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm gonna just use my handy dandy whisk to mix that in to my dry mixture so that I've got a good dry mixture now. It doesn't take but a second to get that mixed up. It also helps distribute the rest of the flour that might not have gotten distributed in with the chocolate. So now it's all nice and mixed in there. Looks kind of like, you know, brownie mix that you get from the store. Wonder if I could use this as a brownie base. Might be worth trying, wouldn't it? So, the next thing I am going to add here, I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I diced because I'm gonna, and it's still cold. That is very intentional. Kind of like when you're making a pie crust, which I hate making homemade pie crusts, y'all. So if I ever make pies, which I will, my pumpkin pies, everybody loves my pumpkin pie because it's about the filling and not the crust. I buy crust and then make my pie. But anyway, if I ever do a recipe with a pie, that's why. But cold fat helps make a more tender and flaky anything, really. So I am using my pastry cutter. You can use a couple of forks too, or even just a single fork. I like using my pastry cutter just because I feel like it's faster. This has got the big tines and everything in it. Trying to blend it in and get it all crumbly. You want all of those chunks cut up. You don't want someone to be taking a bite of their cookie and have a big buttery explosion in their mouth, although...
Why not?
I was going to say, some people might actually enjoy that. But then you're also cheating somebody else who might want, you know, a little bit more flaky cookie or something. I don't know. Buttery explosions aren't necessarily a bad thing, though. Okay, so I've got this blended in. Almost done. I've made these cookies several ways. My liquid part is where you can do some variation. I don't tell my daughter, but my preferred way to make these cookies is to actually use a little bit of coffee, concentrated coffee. I boil it down and get it concentrated because coffee, espresso powder, whatever you use, it just brings out the flavor of chocolate like nobody's business. It's so good. The other thing that brings out the flavor of chocolate is the pinch of salt I'm going to add here in just a second. Let me grab that real quick. When I say a pinch of salt, I mean literally a pinch. Just a pinch. We'll stir that in again. So I've got this nice and crumbly looking, and it's just about ready for my liquid. This time though, I don't have any coffee handy, so I am using a tablespoon of freshly squeezed orange juice. Trust me, orange juice and chocolate also go really, really well together. 1 egg. I'm gonna blend the orange juice and egg together. You could also use like a chocolate liqueur or even Bailey's. So this doesn't look like a lot of liquid, but it's just enough. It's going to be all that you need because you want a little bit of a dry blend. The butter, remember, will melt and add a little bit of flavor and a little bit of moisture. And there she is. Truffle wants back in. Her other trick is to stand on her hind legs and look at you through the window. So, pouring all that in, and then I'm going to start blending it. Now, once I get this all mixed up and into a ball, I'm going to put this in the fridge for covered with some plastic wrap for about 30 minutes at least, because I want all of that to mix up together and solidify. And it's going to be, I'm probably going to have to put my hands in here in a minute because it looks super dry. And that's what I want. I want it to be super dry because that butter is going to be one of the most important parts when it comes to actually making these cookies. So I'm going to finish stirring this up, get it blended into a ball, and then I'll come back and show you how to bake them in just a little bit.
Okay.
My cookie dough is now chilled enough for me to use. You can see I rolled them out into balls about the size of a walnut. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees. So I'm gonna take, they're not all evenly sized, I tried, but I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna drop them in some powdered sugar, and I'm gonna roll them around. I like them to be completely coated with the powdered sugar. And then I'm going to put them here. I like to use parchment paper just because I think it makes it easier for cleanup and they don't stick. Sometimes cookies will stick. So parchment paper is wonderful. I'm going to finish coating these. Oh, I will say that in order to actually get it to the stage that I have it right now where it did turn into ball when I left you earlier, it wasn't quite a ball yet. You got to get your hands in there and dig around, okay? This is not a clean cookie by any means. Your hands get really filthy. But 10 minutes is how long I'm going to bake these on 350. This is not a cookie that you can tell by the edges if it's done or not. These cookies I made a little while ago. I decided I'd make more cookies while I was waiting for these to get cold enough. I need to set that timer up. Hang on. That's I'm cooking supper right now too. Anyway, so these cookies you can go, oh, okay, I can tell by the edges that those are ready to come out of the oven. You can't do that with these, so you really have to be really specific with the time and the size that you make these. So that's why I'm pretty specific. It's the size of a walnut, a little bit smaller, and in the oven for 10 minutes. And when they're done, I'll show you how yummy they look.
Okay.
All right, we're done. Yay! Oh, yeah, these are done. Here's one way that I know they're done. Obviously, the cracky, I love the cracky. To me, that looks like Christmas. But when I took them out of the oven, the cookies were sliding on the parchment paper. And if they're sliding on the parchment paper, that tells me that they're done because they're solid enough on the bottom to slide around a little bit. Now, I'm not gonna take these off for a while. I'm gonna let them sit here and really, really cool down because that's when, believe it or not, these cookies are eaten best. But, I'm just gonna slide that under that one, just one, and let you see how nice and soft and yummy that looks on the inside. And that's why I call these chocolate truffle cookies, because they really do taste like a chocolate truffle, especially if you use coffee in the mix. That orange juice, really good too. Oh my gosh. Y'all have no idea what you're missing out. You really don't. Okay. Get ready for Christmas baking. Try this recipe. Tell me if you like it. Y'all take care.